Hey y'all, it's Heather. Welcome back to the channel, The Scent Diaries. Today we're going to be doing a little story time, and then hopefully I can film another video that will be about my perfumes, my actual EDPs, not my body mists. I did just try to film this, but I accidentally name dropped somebody, so I'm wanting to re-film it. I don't want to say anybody's name. I'm going to have to try really hard not to because I just naturally want to say that. Before we start, I do have some really good news. My husband found my ring. Yes, excuse my nails, but he found it. I'm so excited. Weirdly enough, he found it in my son's room, like just sitting on top of his dresser. And that's his bedroom that like houses his clothes and his bed and all that. But because he's still kind of afraid to sleep in the dark, he almost never goes in there. And his gaming system is in like his playroom. So no one's ever in that room really, like almost never. And I know for a fact I did not go in that room the day that my ring went missing. So how it got there, I have no clue. It doesn't make any sense to me. Possibly my youngest son could have got it and brought it in there and set it down, but he didn't go in there that day. Like I would have noticed if he went in there, because I really try to keep him out of there so he's not just like pulling clothes out of the dresser and throwing them on the floor and all that. So yeah, I'm flabbergasted how it ended up where it ended up, but I'm just really happy that that the Lord brought it back because I did not want to have to worry about getting a new one. This is an expensive ring. It's real diamond. It's real gold. So I was like not trying to mess with that. And just the nostalgia, the, sentimental aspect of it. I did not want to have to replace it. Even if I got a new ring, I'd want to give this one, to my daughter one day or my daughter-in-law or whatever, my granddaughter. So yeah. So this is going to be a pretty personal story, so bear with me, and I'm going to try to gather my thoughts and put it in like a cohesive order. But this is going to be the story of how I was inadvertently turned into the other woman. Yes. Like I said, I'm not going to name anybody. This was years ago. This was like maybe 14 or 15 years ago now. So like no hard feelings. I don't want anybody attacking this person. Like it's in the past, but this is still something that was like a pretty big part of my life and, affected me in ways that probably still, resonate. And just kind of a warning for other girls, like to not put yourself in this position basically, and to see the signs, that somebody is just straight up using you. So when we moved to Ashland City, we lived on this dirt road out in the middle of nowhere. It was like actually it had the main road, and then my family lived off of a little private road attached to it that like was gravel, it looked like a driveway. So we didn't have a lot of people that were near us that we could hang out with or be friends with. There was only a couple people that even lived on this road that were anywhere within walking distance, because when we moved there, I was 14. I didn't have a car. I didn't have, money, nothing. My parents weren't driving me anywhere. Like they were kind of like, you're on your own with this. So it wasn't like, I could be walking for 2 or 3 hours to go see other people from the school. There was just the people on this road that I really had access to. And there was one brother-sister duo. I'm going to call them J and W. They were, around our ages. J was a year older than me. W is a year younger than me. And then, my stepbrother is in the same grade as me, the one that's creepy, that I've talked about before. And so I was friends with Jay really closely, and then he was friends with W. So we spent a lot of time seeing each other, in passing, spending a lot of time at each other's houses. So I don't really remember when it started fully. I just know that like I was not attracted to him when we first met and when this all began. I remember the first time we actually hung out was they rode their dirt bikes down to my house to bring me a 3 Days Grace CD, and that kind of started the friendship. But there was never a point where I was like, oh, Jay's brother is really cute. Like I didn't even think of him like that. Like he's tall, which is great because I love tall guys. But that's really about all he's got going for him. I'm not trying to be hateful. Like I'm just being real. As far as like personality, like intellect, I mean, he's not dumb, but he's definitely not a go-getter in any kind of like educational capacity. His style was very like wearing like Jordans and Nike and almost a little bit like in certain ways, he was like almost a little bit ghetto, for a white guy. And just, I don't know, he just was not my type at all. So I don't even, know why but anyways, we'll get into it. He would, make a lot of comments about how I looked, or, things that he wanted to do. And, at first I was just like, no, gross, like, leave me alone. Like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And I was also really like uncomfortable around men or guys, because my dad was so creepy and would say things that no one should say to their daughter. And my stepbrother was also, sexually harassing me and creeping on me. So I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I was uncomfortable around boys for the most part. So I didn't really know how to react. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I was used to men saying creepy things to me. But I wasn't to the point where I am now, where I can like actually call them out on it and say something like, stop, like, you're freaking me out and you're being weird. I would just like kind of like cave into myself and, like laugh it off and move on. So yeah, he would make comments and everything. And he would, when he would come spend the night with my brother, he would try to sneak into my room when everybody else was asleep and like beg me to come in there and, hang out, which was his way of getting a shoe in to like mess around. And, I was at first just like, leave me alone. Like, that's not happening. But I also had really low self-esteem. I was stuck out in the middle of nowhere, was neglected severely, was abused, was the scapegoat of my family. So I spent a lot of time alone in the woods, a lot of time reading. We didn't have, access to a computer. We didn't have cable. We didn't have nothing like that. So I spent a lot of time being bored out of my mind and alone and having just really low self-esteem. So, I kind of welcomed the attention that I was getting. It is what it is. It's not great. You shouldn't need attention like that, or let it lead you to do things that aren't good for you. But that's where I was, and, I don't remember like how it kind of progressed from there, because I did leave for college and I had a boyfriend there. And we had messed around and, borderline crossed the line, but not fully. And, but I told people that we had, because, I think I was already 18 at that time. And, most girls were losing their virginity at like 14. And I felt like a weirdo. It's not like I couldn't get guys. There was guys coming out, after me left and right. Not to brag, I'm just saying that's how it was. But like I said, I felt uncomfortable around men. I felt uncomfortable in my own body. I didn't know how to connect with people like that. So it just had never happened up until then. And me and that boy had broken up before we ever like fully went there, But I told people we did so people would leave me alone. So Jade, because she had lost it a while back, and she was the kind of friend who was always kind of like, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You should, I can't believe you haven't done it yet. If you're cute. Like, why haven't you done it? Like, guys like you, I don't understand. Like, and, just other girls bragging about all the things they've done and the boys they've been with. And, if boys find out you're a virgin, they like come out of the woodwork. They don't leave you alone. So I, wanted people to think that we had. So I just said, yeah, we had. Yeah. And so I'm not a virgin anymore. And just kind of let it at that. I didn't think it would ever you'll understand. But so anyways, after we had broken up, I was home from college for something, I can't remember, some kind of break. And, Jay threw a party at her apartment. And, W was there, some other people, I can't remember all who, but Jay had gone to bed because it was pretty late and this was like mid-party era. So, we had been smoking, drinking, the whole nine. And I stayed up and was hanging out with other people that were, at the party. And we all ended up crashing in the living room. And W was trying to get me to do things, on our own little cot there, under the blankets with other people around in the room. And I was just not going to do it. I could not, I was not the kind of person that would be able to handle like other people potentially seeing or hearing something. And, he just didn't care. And he actually got mad at me, which should have been a red flag. That should have been a glaring red flag, because he like rolled over and wouldn't talk to me and was like pissed, and I kind of felt bad about myself, because like, I was young, I was dumb, I didn't understand like how this could make somebody treat me like that, which, yeah, red flag. But the next day, after everybody had left, she left to go do something. I can't even remember what. Her roommate was there. This is kind of partially how we got caught in a way. Not fully, but this was the like beginning of Jay realizing what was going on. Because, up until then, we had been messing around. If I was over at their house, he would be like blowing my phone up to like come meet him in his bedroom. And if he was at my house, he'd be like sneaking into my bedroom, like nonstop, but we hadn't fully gone there. But so after everybody left the next day, we were alone. And so we ended up doing it, for real doing it. And the roommate, I didn't even realize she was home, and she came out of her room and realized that we had been alone. And I guess she just put two and two together, or like it kind of assumed or whatever. And she told Jay, that me and W had been alone together, and was like suspicious, but she didn't know for sure. And, Jay asked me, and I just point blank lied, because I didn't want her in my business. It wasn't her business. It wasn't between me and her. And I felt really uncomfortable, couldn't really understand the way I was feeling about it. So yeah, I just didn't say anything. And, I still, I don't even know why I did it. Like, I really wasn't into him like that. I didn't have like feelings for him like that. It was kind of just like, right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time. And I like him enough to, need the attention, basically. So yeah, and then, later on, I think like a couple weeks later, I can't remember if we had hooked up like between now and the next time me and Jay spoke about it. But we were in her car, and she was like, so W told me that you two have hooked up. And so he told her for whatever reason, and I was like flipping out. I was like, at first kind of trying to deny it, but she knew. And I was like, why, what, how did that even come up in conversation? And she was like, it didn't. We were just like hanging out or driving somewhere. I can't remember what she said. And he just blurted out that, I slept with Heather. And, so yeah, and I was pissed. Because, I was kind of embarrassed by it, because he was a family friend. My sisters, I knew, were going to troll me about it, because they thought that he was a joke. Just you would have to meet him to understand. But yeah, they thought he was a complete joke. Like, not that he's ugly. He's not ugly. He's somewhat good looking, especially because he's so tall, and, he's got blue eyes and blondish hair. Like, he was decently good looking, had really bad acne, and no hate, but terrible acne. But, he was decently good looking. It wasn't because of that. It was because, it was almost like, at that point, we had been spending, we had known them for years, because, we met when I was going into high school. That's when we moved out there. So at 14, we're very close friends at each other's houses all the time. And then me and him didn't start hooking up till I was 17 or 18. So we had known them for several years at that point, and they were almost like family, so if his family knew about it, they were going to troll us, and I was just so uncomfortable with it. I didn't want people knowing. I was going to take it to my grave if I had anything to say about it. So I was just really flabbergasted, and I felt betrayed that he was going around bragging about it, to his own sister, to my friend. I could understand if he was telling, because later on, they did get stepbrothers. Their dad got remarried. They had a stepbrother, when we first got together, that I didn't see a lot, and he was a jerk. I did not like this dude at all. And then later, their dad got remarried, and they had other stepbrothers. So, I can understand him, bragging to them, the boys kind of thing. But to tell her, that was weird. And, I don't even know why. Maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe they were arguing and he did it to hurt her feelings. Oh, I slept with your best friend. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I can think of, but who knows? I'm not in his head. I have no idea. So she found out, you know, we acted kind of like we had stopped doing it, but for a while there, it was pretty hot and heavy. Like every time that I would go to my parents' house when I would come back to visit from, you know, college or wherever I was, we would hook up, or, you know, he would come out to me and we would hook up. I remember distinctly one time, I don't know, everything's so mixed up because this was so long ago and I was smoking a lot of weed at the time. So my memory's not the best. But I do remember one time I didn't have a car, or my car was broken down or something. So I was like, we don't have any, you know, and I can't remember if he had a car at that time. But he literally stole his sister's car to come hook up with me. He even had to, because she was asleep in the house and he was afraid she would hear him start the engine. So he put it in neutral, rolled it out of the driveway before he started it, so that it wouldn't be close to her window and she would hear. I mean, that's crazy. Like and he would go, like he would literally walk to my house, or like walk to come meet me so that we could hook up. Like it was a thing. It was probably, like, if I had to guess how many times we actually hooked up, see, I don't even know, because it was a lot of times. It wasn't just like a handful of times. It was like probably like total like 30-ish or something, which when you're not living with somebody and you're actually kind of a distance from them, either at college or I was living with my grandmother at that time, that's kind of a lot. You know, I could understand it when we were living right down the road from each other, how that wouldn't be much. But yeah, that was kind of a lot. So he had been dating this girl on and off that, you know, I knew that he had dated her. He had dated a couple other girls. We never ended up actually dating. But you know, so he would date somebody and then things would just break off and I would go live my life. I would see other people, you know, and then he would break up with whoever it was and would end up starting things back up with me. And you know, it was just fun. Like we were just having fun. It was nothing serious. It wasn't like I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, we're going to be together one day. I remember his sister brought that up one time. She was like, what if y'all end up married? And I was like, I literally told her, I was like, no, like that's not going to happen. Like this is just a fling. You know, it's nothing like that. So there wasn't nothing like consciously in my head saying like, oh, like I'm writing his name on my diary, Mrs. his last name. It was nothing like that. But I think subconsciously I was starting to build attachments, and I would even say like, this isn't healthy for me anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like this is going anywhere. I don't want to be used, you know, and we would break things off, and then he would come crawling back. He would come begging back. And it would happen over and over again. And this happened multiple, I don't even know how many times this happened, where I was like very clear about the fact that like I kind of like I didn't say that like outright, but it was obvious with the way I was saying it. Like I was catching feelings, because that's how women are. Women are not, okay, a woman can sleep with a man and feel nothing for him and have no attachment to him whatsoever, even maybe a couple of times, but if she's consistently sleeping with him, going out of her way to sleep with him, over the span of several years, she's going to get feelings. That's just how we're wired. If you like him enough to keep sleeping with him, that will turn into affection. That's just how it is. You know, I've been with guys that like I never saw again, couldn't care less. You know what I mean? Or guys I dated for a couple weeks, we broke up, couldn't care less. But, you know, because that affection never really built up, that attraction was never like complete. We never clicked in that way. But, you know, sexually, me and W did click. At least I thought so. You'll understand more why I don't think so now. But at the time, I thought like, this is better than what I've had with other guys. This feels more intimate. This feels more passionate. And you know, subconsciously I was getting feelings, because that's just what happens. In my head, like I did not understand that a man can sleep with you and hate your guts. I don't think he hated my guts. I'm not saying that, but a man can sleep with you and hate your guts. A man can sleep with you and not give two craps about you. And like, I'm just not that type of person. I'm a very deep, like, big feels kind of person. I get attached to people, not too easily, but when I do, it's like I'm attached, So yeah, he would basically see me when he's not seeing these other girls, and it did kind of hurt my feelings because like, why does he have all these girlfriends and most of them aren't even cute, and like he's not asking me to be his girlfriend. Not that I would have said yes, but like just the fact that he wasn't pursuing a true relationship with me, it would definitely hurt my feelings. But at least they were broken up. Like, I wasn't the other woman, you know what I mean? He wasn't cheating on them to be with me or, whatever. We went, their whole family went to Florida and let me come along, because I was very close to their family at this point. Seeing them all the time. I mean, I've been close for years, but I was especially close at this point. We were like always together. And so I went to Florida with them, and we were hooking up while we were in Florida. And you know what? I think I wasn't the only girl he was hooking up with, because there was this other group of girls that were from our school. I had already graduated by then, but I had like graduated in his class, and they left one night to go hang out with these girls. And, he was all over this one girl, basically in front of me. Like, he did not care at all. Like, he would talk about other girls in front of me. He would like, hit on other girls in front of me. And this girl was not cute at all. Like, and it kind of hurt my feelings. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like when you have a, like, somewhat of an idea of what you look like, and you're not ugly, and then you see somebody that you've been with or that you like hooking up with these like dogs, you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, am I on that level and I just don't realize like what is going on, And I mean, she was cool and everything. I had known her from school too, but like, that's another thing, is I was not his type. Like, I don't understand why he pursued me so hard. Was it just for convenience? Was it just because I was there? Because I am not his type at all. Because I'm petite, not so much now because I've had 2 kids. But like, I was, especially at that time, my nickname was Scrawny. Like, I was tiny, tiny. And all of the other girls that he's been with, the girl he's married to now, are thick as the day is long. Like, thick. That's another thing that I was saying. It's almost like he's a little bit ghetto. Like, he likes the big old booties. You know what I'm saying? No hate. I'm not talking crap. But I'm just saying, where do I fit into this? Like, I am not your type at all. So why could you not just, like, for one, let it go when I made it clear I was not interested in you at the beginning? And then 2, why did you keep keeping me on the leash when I said that, like, this is not good for me, this is not working out, like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not even your type. So, like, what the heck? So yeah, it was very bizarre. I don't know that he hooked up with her, but just because of how he was, looking back, he was the kind of guy who was just hitting anybody that would let him hit, basically. And willing to shoot your shot is 75% of the work. A lot of guys just don't get with girls because they're just not willing to try. If you actually pursue it and try it, sometimes you'll get there even if she's out of your league or y'all aren't, compatible. But yeah. So that kind of pissed me off because at that point I kind of already did have secret feelings that I was not admitting to myself or to anyone else. If anybody asked, I would just say, it started out as just a fling, and I did not care about him at all. And he was the first person, like, that I'd actually been with that he excused the graphicness, but popped my cherry. And so I didn't realize, people tell you, oh, don't give it away. Be very picky because, you're going to get attached, blah, blah, blah. But that's just words until it happens to you. Like, I had never really cared about a guy. I'd never been, like, super interested in anybody, like, particularly. So it didn't, I didn't understand that I could actually get attached. You know what I mean? It's so hard to explain. And it hit me like a brick wall, and, like, it came out of nowhere. And I suddenly started finding myself jealous that he's hitting on these other girls and he's sneaking off, with other girls, and I have to hide it because I'm going to make myself look like a fool. I didn't want people to know that it bothered me because people are vicious at that age and they would just rub it in harder. And so, you know, and I wasn't even consciously admitting this to myself. This was all like subconscious. So yeah, that had been going on for a while where it was very obvious that I had told him several times I'm kind of like, I didn't say I was catching feelings, but I feel like it should have been obvious. That's why I was trying to end things. And I swear to you, it happened probably 6 times where we would cut things off because I said, I just don't want to do this anymore. And then he would basically harass me until I gave in. So yeah. And then this last time when we were in Florida, we were like out to, but right before we left for Florida, the girl he had been dating, that he ended up married to, they had broken up. And I'm sure he broke up with her so that he didn't have to feel bad about hooking up with me. But that's just what it is. And when we were out to dinner, I happened to look over and I saw him texting her. I saw her name on the text. And something in me clicked. I don't know what it is. Something in me snapped. And I realized this is what he wants to happen. This is not him trying to figure out, his way if he does care about me. This is not him secretly, hiding his feelings for me and not being able to admit it. This is him wanting to have me on the side whenever the girl he actually wants doesn't, want anything to do with him at the moment. So I just, because he had dated other girls, but for some reason this one he was very hung up on. And he didn't even really try to hide it. He would talk about how beautiful she was right in front of me, which was like a knife in the chest. Like, hello. And he had to have known. He had to, he was doing that shit on purpose to hurt me. Like, why say that? You know what I mean? And you're the one that pursued me. So, how fucking dare you? He's just a jerk. I'm sorry. No, I'm over it. But, thinking back, I'm like, what an asshole. Truly, what an asshole. So yeah, something in me just snapped. I didn't say a word then because we were in public. We were out to dinner with his family. But when we got home, best believe I found that girl on Facebook and I messaged her. And I was like, I just want you to know that I don't know if because obviously y'all aren't fully broken up. You still have something going on if you're sitting there texting each other, So I don't know for sure if they were actually together, So maybe I wasn't the other woman. Maybe all the times we hooked up, he actually was broken up with whichever girl he was dating. And he dated several girls, to the point where one time we kind of got into it. I can't remember exactly how this went down or who he was dating. But one of the girls that he had a relationship with was texting me, going off on me, and basically telling me he doesn't care about me and all this stuff. I don't even know how she found out about me because I didn't have her number. So I don't know. I can't remember exactly how it went down. But basically I had been going off on him about, all the shit he's putting me through and the fact that he's literally messing with my mind and my body and enough is enough. The times before this, I was able to let it go, cut ties, go date who you want to date. I'll date who I want to date. Fine. And that happened 5 times, 6 times over. And then the last couple times I was like a full-blown psycho at this point because I had just been used too many times. And I was mad at myself too, because I allowed it to happen. I could have not easily, but I could have said nothing's ever going to happen again. We are done. And I'm going to stick to it this time. But I was abused. I'm not joking when I say that. And I had a terrible relationship with my father. And I think that he used that. He knew that I had really low self-esteem, that I had no familiar support. And I think he used that as a way to oh, she's a weak link. I can take what I want from her. I can use her whenever I want. And, she might break it off here and there, but I'll always be able to come back and worm my way back in. But yeah, so this other girl, we'll get back to the Florida story in a minute, but this other girl was blowing up at me. And I called her the wrong name. I thought it was a different girl that he had been dating. So that tells you like how many girls he's been messing with, and I didn't even know who was yelling at me. I thought it was a different girl. So yeah, and then so when we got back from Florida, I messaged that one girl, I want to say her name, the girl he ended up married to, that he was, talking to in Florida, and I was like, I don't know if you know this, I don't know if y'all were together at this time, but we were hooking up the whole time in Florida, and we've been hooking up for like the past year at least, maybe year and a half. I can't remember exactly how long. There was a lot of like gray area before we fully started hooking up, like a lot of messing around and stuff. So yeah, and he blew up on me saying like, he hates me and all this because I might have ruined his relationship with the girl he actually does care about. Oh, sorry. Like, I'm the problem, not you that's sleeping with somebody else. Come on now. So she was actually nice about it. Like, kudos to her. Like, I would have been a bitch. But no, she was like, I'm sorry he did that to you. There's really nothing I can do about it. That's kind of the vibe she had. But like, she was apologetic and, nice. I was honestly surprised. I think she's a Christian. Maybe that has something to do with it. I was not a Christian at this time. But yeah, like if you ever see this, like, thank you for being nice when I was being a psycho. So yeah, and I think they broke up for a little bit, but they ended up obviously getting back together and getting married. I don't know what he told her. I'm assuming he told her it only happened one time. It was only while we were in Florida and me and you were broken up. Girl, if you ever see this, that is not true. That is not true. He is a cheater. We're going to get into that. Okay. So, it was not one time. This was going on like I don't even know how many times over the span of like a year or more. So if he told you it's just one time or just while we were in Florida, absolutely not. That is not what happened. He also may have slept with another girl while we were there. So he apparently still hangs out at my house because I don't talk to my family. I don't talk to my parents at all. I talk to my siblings, but I don't talk to my parents at all. I don't go over to that house that I grew up in high school, right down the road from them. Like, I don't go over there at all. And I heard through the grapevine, because I'm still really good friends with his sister. He's actually best friends with my younger stepbrother. Now, I don't think he's really super close friends with the older stepbrother. Maybe he'd realize how freaking weird he is. I don't know. But him and my youngest stepbrother are best friends, like, from what I hear. And he spends a lot of time at my parents' house, even to this day. That shows you something. My parents are friends with, and and allowing to come over and spending time with the man that hurt their daughter. But they don't give a crap. They could care less. They probably blame me for it. So I hear things through the grapevine every now and then. Not that I'm asking about him. I've never asked about him, but for some reason, I don't know if people just like know that we had a thing back then and they like feel they want to tell me, or if they're trying to be shady. I don't know. But sometimes people will tell me things about him. Like, I wish I wouldn't. Like, I don't give a crap. And I heard that he cheats on his wife all the time. Even to this day, cheats on her all the time. I heard that he cheated on her with one of her own family members. I can't remember. I think they said a sister, but I don't know if she has a sister. Maybe it wasn't a sister. It might have been like a female cousin or something, but that he has cheated on her with somebody that she's related to. So girl, if you ever see this, your man is shiesty as hell and you probably need to get checked out. So sleeping with all kinds of girls, whoever he can, and even her own. What kind of sick person does that? Cheating is one thing, but to go after someone's like friends or their sister or their family, that is hatred. Like, girl, that man hates you. He hates you. I think he just hates women because his mom left him when he was a baby. So maybe he's got like some kind of, subconscious hatred towards women. I don't know. I also heard through the grapevine that he had a threesome with a girl and another dude, and he was the middleman. So, no hate. I'm not talking crap about the gays. Nothing like that. But when you're married to a woman and you are cheating on her, it's almost worse when it's with another dude, and he was the middleman, if you catch my drift, So yeah, no, that's alleged, and that's why I'm not naming him, because I'm not trying to like get sued for what you call it, slander. But this is what I've heard through the grapevine. Like, I don't know where these rumors would come from if they weren't true. And honestly, I could see it, because men that are like that, men that care more about bragging about girls to their bros instead of actually like treating the girl right, are the kind that are a little bit gay secretly. So yeah. Also, a side note, I don't understand why I got hung up on this dude. I guess I just had no better options at the time, because looking back, he was not good in bed. He really wasn't. He lasted like 2.2 seconds most of the time, which can't blame him for. I mean, you know, when you got a beautiful woman, what can you do? You can't control yourself. But he also never got me off. Not once. Not once. In fact, I didn't even know that a man could do that for me. I thought that was just like something I was going to have to do for myself. Like, had no idea that men were even like capable of doing that. I don't know if he was just lazy and like, or like hateful and didn't care to do that for me, or if he just didn't know how. I'm leaning towards didn't know how, because most men, especially at that age, when they're like, you know, young, like late teens, getting into adulthood, are wanting to prove their self to a woman. So if he could have, I think he would have. But no, he tried. He definitely tried. So it wasn't for lack of, you know, effort. But not once did I actually, you know, get off. And I just thought that was going to be, you know, that was the way it was, you know. Maybe, I wonder if his wife's ever had no. Maybe he, like, has learned more since being with me. I don't know, but I really hope so, because that poor girl, I feel really bad. But then I got with my husband, Tyler, and I don't want to be too explicit, but like, he makes it seem easy, super easy, you know, to the point where I was like blown away. I mean, he's made me so hard, it like was almost painful. You know what I mean? So sorry for anybody that knows me that's watching this. Like, I know that's TMI, but like in comparison, I'm just like, it makes it even more like, what the heck? What is really wrong with my brain? Why was I okay with this? You know, and I'm sure the people, you know, in the story, his sister, his family, him, will all say I'm nuts. I did act crazy. I acted straight insane. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to lie about that. I was, you know, I mean, I wasn't like stalking him, like even social media stalking him. I was never looking him up online. I was never trying to find out what girls he was with, because what is that going to do for me? That's just going to hurt my feelings. So it wasn't like that. I was never like showing up at his places. Like, there was none of that, but I was harassing him. I was like blowing him up. And, you know, even after times that would happen, he would still come back. You know what I mean? So he knew that I was getting too emotionally involved here. But yeah, I definitely like lost my shit on him, because I'd been the cool girl for way too long. The girl who silently let herself be, you know, degraded, who silently let him talk about other women in front of me. And I wanted to be the cool girl. I wanted to be the girl who wasn't, you know, threatened or whatever, because some part of me thought that maybe one day he'll appreciate me. Maybe one day he'll want to take things a little further. And if I had known, like, that's not going to be the case, like, this guy does not give a crap about you, then I wish I could have gone back and I never would have done the things I did. I'm not totally like I'm still somewhat grateful that it happened, because I did learn lessons from it. I learned what to look for in a man to avoid. I learned the signs of when someone just doesn't care about you. And I learned not to tell yourself a story. You know, like I was telling myself, like, he just doesn't want to admit that he feels something for me. He just doesn't think that it'll go anywhere, or that I'll like turn him down if he ever asks me to actually date him. And that's so delusional. That is not true. If he wanted to, he would, ladies. If he wanted to, he would. Okay. But yeah, so, and then I ended up very shortly after. So that happened in the summer of 2012. And in the summer of 2013 is when I met my husband. And I'm not just saying this because, like, to be spiteful or like, haha, I got better than you, but like, my husband is hot as hell. Like, I mean, we're gotten a little older now, so, you know, we both look different. I'm not going to say I look the way I did when I was 21 and we met. But yeah, he is a looker, and in comparison, and he's tall too, and knows what to do in the bedroom. Like, if I had known that that was coming around the corner, I would have been so hardcore about keeping myself, you know, ready for him, because no other man has ever come close. Like, not even a sliver of, a shadow of close as the way my husband is. And, you know, he knows I'm crazy and put up with me, and he still loves me. I don't know. Just think of that, ladies. Think of the man that you're messing with who is not giving you the respect you need, who is not giving you the good sex you need. I mean, hell, at least if you're going to, like, have a man ruin your emotional stability, let him be good in bed. You know, but I get it. Like, I didn't realize how bad he was because I just had nothing to compare him to. So yeah, just be really careful. And if he wanted to, he would. If he's talking to other girls, if he's talking about other girls in front of you, like, he is worthless. Like, honestly, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean, that's my story about how I was inadvertently turned into the other woman and basically pursued, emotionally, sexually manipulated, and then turned into the problem and the crazy person because of it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I still have like some kind of like heatedness about it because I wouldn't be like talking the way I am if I didn't. But I mean, this is all in the past. He's actually apologized to me, which I'm very like grateful for. I mean, it's kind of like too little too late. What's a sorry gonna do when I gave you my V card? You know what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is. He's married now. I'm married now. We both have kids. So everything's Gucci. You know, I wish them the best. Yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. Hopefully, you know, going on from here, whoever sees this, if any girls see this, like, they will, like, maybe this will open their eyes to how they're being treated and, like, to not accept. I'm not saying, like, never settle. Like, if a man does anything you don't like, you walk out that door. Like, no, that's not how it is. You've got to compromise in some ways. Like, you know, like, you're not going to never fight with somebody. They're not going to always be the perfect gentleman and not have any vices whatsoever and never look at another woman and, like, all these things at once. But my man is, I know for a fact, not a cheater, because you know, W grew up in a family like that. His dad is a cheater. You know, his mom ran out on them. I hate to say it, but Jay is a cheater. I love her to death. But you know, sometimes she's not a great gal in that department. And, I kind of feel like they both sort of treated me like a toy. For her, I was kind of like a doll that she could, like, dress up and do my hair and do my makeup. And then for him, I was like a sex toy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like either of them really looked at me like a real person. And you know, I still love Jay. I'll always love her. She's a sister to me. But she can be pretty toxic. You know, she can be a pretty toxic person. There's, you know, it was almost kind of the dynamic. Like, sometimes she would just be kind of mean. Like, and I don't think she even really, that's just like, I feel like I was like Katie Heron and she was like Regina George. Like, I was a homeschool jungle freak, you know, because I really was homeschooled before then, who was like a virgin and not like savvy when it came to boys. And she was like always getting what she wanted out of everybody and had the confidence to boot, but was a little bit shady and mean sometimes. But yeah, we still talk. I still love her. I'm always going to love her. But sometimes I wish that, you know, our families had never gotten as close as they had, because I would have saved myself a lot of trouble, and a lot of trauma, because that is traumatizing to be used like that and to never be told, like, hey, this is just sex for me. This is just fun for me. And this is never going to be anything more. And what's weird is it's not like he was hooking up with these beautiful girls that I could never compete with. I was the prettiest girl out of all the girls he was hooking up with. I mean, the girl he ended up married to, she is pretty. Like, she's got a beautiful face, and she's got gorgeous eyes. I've seen her in person a couple times. I haven't really talked to her too much, but I've seen her, like, in passing because she would come over, which is so weird. like that she would come over and, you know, see him, and I'm there with his sister, and I guess she just assumed we were friends, and, you know, we had secretly been doing things. And I thought, you know, that, I don't know what I thought. I guess I thought that one day he would actually see me, you know. But yeah, she was pretty, but like, just her body type, like, I'm not his type. Most of the girls that he's been with are like super thick thighs, super big booties, you know, even not necessarily even a snatched waist or anything, like just big old girls, look like they could drop a baby, no problem. You know, my husband says those are girls that look like they could shit beer cans. I'm sorry. I know that's body shaming. I'm so sorry. I don't mean it any ill will. Those girls are beautiful, and there's you know, got to be a man for every type of girl. But it just makes it even more suspicious that he came after me, because that's not my body type. You know what I mean? And I was the one odd girl out. So why was he so dead set on being with me? Because, I mean, to steal his sister's car, to come walking down the road, to like to constantly pursue over the span of years, it's just bizarre. If you have no real interest in somebody, then fine. You know, and if you can obviously get other girls, like, it's not like you're that hard up. So why were you pursuing me so adamantly? Yeah, it's a very strange situation, and it makes me wonder, like, why, you know, why, if I was never on your radar as someone to be like serious with, and I wasn't even into you like that. Like, you could have just kept moving, and I would have been perfectly happy. Like, you are the one that made me feel those things just to slam the door on my face. Like, I think it was like a kink, you know, like he got off to the fact that I wanted him, you know, that I was developing those feelings, and that he knew that he was never going to, and it almost like makes me like WTF, because it's kind of like you think that I'm not good enough for you. Am I like, did I hit my head? Like, you, the guy that I wasn't even into, that dates girls that guy that I'm dating now would never touch with someone else's stuff. You think I'm not good enough to like pursue seriously. But yeah, I don't know. Truly, I don't know. And I don't mean this to any hate to any girls that are built like that. You know, like I said, there is a girl for every man, but go after your type. Don't, you know, fish outside of your pond and then trip out when you get a piranha. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the crazy girl. Everybody knows I'm the crazy girl. You knew I was the crazy girl. You literally, were raised like basically in my household with my brother. So he knew what he was getting himself into. It wasn't like, oh, I just seem like a sweet little mouse, and then all of a sudden the claws come out. Like, he knew I was freaking crazy from day one, and he chose to dip his toe in that pond, and then, you know, when he got burned, he acts confused. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just going down this train too much, but I enjoy being able to get these things off my chest, because I don't really have anybody I can talk to about these things. I can't talk to my husband about these things because, like, obviously, you know, no man wants to hear about how his wife, you know, had this traumatic thing with another man. I can't talk to Jay about it because it's her brother, you know. The only person I could really talk to about it, and I couldn't talk to my sisters about it because I was just embarrassed. They thought he was a joke from day one. So they would be like, wait, like, I remember when they know about it, and I remember when they found out about it, they were like, W? Are we talking about the same person? And they'd be like, I mean, he's not ugly. Like, it's not that he's ugly. Like, he's not a bad looking man, but like, it's weird. And, you know, the only person I could really talk to about it would be one of my other friends, Lindsay, who I'm very close to still to this day. She knows the whole story and everything. And she gets it because she's been down that road with the man a time or two herself. So yeah, if you have anybody like that in your life, cut the cord, ladies. It is not worth it. If you cut the cord and it was meant to be, like, he will make a way. If a man wants you that bad, he will move heaven and earth to be with you. And I'm not talking about to be with your body. A man will move heaven and earth to get you in bed any day of the week. I'm talking about to actually pursue a relationship with you, like my husband did. Like pretty much the day he met me, he was like, she's the one. Like, I just know it. Like, she's the one. We were very hot and heavy and serious, more than just physically. Like, I literally moved into their house, because he was staying with his parents at the time. And, it's a long story, but basically I got kicked out of my grandmother's house for like this totally other situation that I'll talk about one day. I could have gone back to my dad's house, or tried to move out on my own or whatever, but I ended up moving in with, Tyler, and, that started the train of us having our children, getting our own place and everything, but it was very quick. Sometimes when you know, and you just got to go for it. And then other times, if you're thinking, maybe you're wondering, could it be, there's signs, ladies. If he is talking about other women, if he is not wanting to see you in any capacity other than to fuck, I don't know, just basically the whole story. If you see any of those signs, any of those red flags, then run for the hills and save yourself for somebody who's probably right around the corner, who you are going to live happily ever after with. So yeah, that's what I got for today. I am going to try to come back with a perfume review, not review, but a perfume collection video here in a little bit if I've got time before I have to go get my son. But I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.